Hello and welcome to episode 133 of the Vegan Business Tribe podcast with myself, David Pennell. And Vegan Business Tribe is here to support you and to inspire you, not just to build a vegan business, but to build a successful vegan business. And you can listen along on Spotify, on Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the video version of this too on YouTube. And thank you as always to our amazing sponsors who are Vegan Accountants and Mad Promotions. Do go check them out. They are both amazing vegan-owned companies who work with a lot of our members at Vegan Business Tribe, but they also give a lot back too. So not just to us at Vegan Business Tribe, but to the movement in general. Now, if you are a regular listener, you will know that last year in 2024, I went through the ProVeg Kickstarting For Good business incubator. And this is a fully funded ProVeg initiative to help social impact entrepreneurs and not-for-profit organisations. And as I was going through the incubator, I recorded a video diary of short, 10-minute episodes as I went through the programme. And I put these out week by week in the Vegan Business Academy on our website at veganbusinesstribe.com. However, I've also been bundling up these episodes into special Omnibus editions just for those of you who prefer to follow the podcast instead. And we are back with Omnibus edition number 5. So, to bring you up to date, in the last Omnibus, I left you at the airport as I was returning on my way back from the first in-person part of the incubator in Berlin. Because before that week, the incubator, it had been virtual and mostly online. However, one thing that none of us knew at that time was that only 50% of the group would be invited back to the second half of the incubator. So we went from just being all excited that we were part of this great incubator cohort to realising that we were pretty much going to have to fight each other for a place on the second half of the programme. And that's when you actually get the opportunity to pitch to the funders and the investors on the final day. So, this omnibus, it covers what happened when I got back from Berlin and the creation of the pitch deck, which is what we were judged on to see if we got through to that final group. Now, I do go through the pitch deck page by page, and I do pretty much describe what's on each of these pages. But if you do want to see the video version so that you can see those slides too, then you can watch all my video diaries just in short 10-minute episodes on the Vegan Business Academy on our website. And that academy, while you're there, it includes hundreds of hours of masterclasses, guides, workshop recordings, online courses, and lots more stuff as well. And if you do go check it out, just know we are funded by our membership. So if you want help growing a successful vegan business, while at the same time helping us to keep doing everything that we do, please do consider going and signing up with us at veganbusinesstribe.com. Right, one final thing that I'll say before we jump in is I recorded this video diary on the go rather than sat here in the studio. So the audio, it differs from episode to episode, but don't let that put you off. There is still a lot of great stuff in here. So let's jump in.
You might not believe it, but I'm actually sat at my 18-month-old daughter's activity table recording this because one of the reasons that we first moved to this apartment that you can see behind you is because it had this wonderful open plan space that I'm now sat in. And we used to work in here. So behind us where our dining table is now, that used to be our office. And we had a couple of desks sat up there. We had a nice view out onto the park from the balcony. But then when Arwen came along, we made this big open plan space into her space. So this is her playroom, it's her school room, it's where Lisa and Arwen spend most of their day. But it meant that I got relegated to the box room. And so now and again, when Lisa and Arwen go out to one of their groups or I think their music class today, I will come out and work in the open plan space. But the only desk in here is Arwen's activity table. So I'm sat with my laptop working there at the moment. And I thought it was worthwhile just having a quick update because it's been a full week since the in-person Incubator ended. And I've had, I don't like to call it a week off because it hasn't been a week off, but I've just had kind of a week away from the Incubator, partially just to absorb everything that we went through and that we learned from the Incubator. And partly because the next step is now to bring everything together in a plan. Now, I haven't just, completely had a week off. I've been having some long conversations and backwards and forwards with the mentors on the Incubator, especially Shay Green. He's been very helpful and useful to planning out what we're going to do next with Vegan Business Tribe. But I've just got off a Zoom call as well with the co-founder of ProVeg, Sebastian, just to kind of look at the business model that we're pulling together now for Vegan Business Tribe. So I thought I'd like to just go through and share some of that with you, because one of the big conversations that we're having about Vegan Business Tribe is how do we fund it? Because Vegan Business Tribe is currently a for-profit organisation and it is funded through our memberships. We've got a couple of sponsors, but it doesn't really become financially stable and able to stand on its own 2 feet without myself and Lisa putting extra money into it until it gets up to about 400 or 500 members. And we're about, 180, 200 members at the moment, which is great. But it needs to grow that extra step. And as part of that, I've always thought that I need to bring in a team to do that, either employed or freelancers, just to help us promote it better, do our social a lot better, just people who've got the time to actually go out there and raise our visibility. I know how to do it, I've got the plan to do it, but I haven't got the hours to do it. And so, that's kind of one of the reasons that we came to join the Incubator, was to look at different kind of funding options for what we do as well. And kind of having that conversation, it's become very apparent that if you want to go out and get funding for either a not-for-profit or for-profit organisation, it's all about impact. And I had these conversations right early on in the first video diaries about actually being able to record your impact as an organisation. But when you're in the vegan or the animal rights movement, the people who have the money to back that movement, they're wanting to be really efficient with where they put that money. So historically, that's always meant going to food companies, because if your goal is to remove animals from the food production chain, then it makes sense to go to those who are doing that the quickest. So the people who are actually making different sort of foods that don't need animals in that food production. So that's why so much of the money has gone into the vegan and the plant-based food companies. And that kind of makes sense. And so there is becoming that little bit of an understanding for Vegan Business Tribe that if we are wanting to attract a number of funders to support what we do, then we need to embrace the food companies more. Because when you look at Vegan Business Tribe at the moment, maybe something like 20%, maybe even less, have got anything to do with food and drink who come and join us at Vegan Business Tribe. So that's something maybe that we need to actually formally address and get a lot better at supporting those companies, because we've got some great information. I've interviewed some of the biggest vegan food founders in the world. We've got lots of friends in the UK who have set up very successful businesses like One Planet Pizza and Better Nature Tempeh that you can buy in the supermarkets across the country. And they've done sessions with us talking about how they scaled up. So we've definitely got the knowledge there to help those sort of companies, but we just haven't focused on it. And it led me to think about the whole vegan business ecosystem. So let me just show you this. So one thing that I've been thinking about is when you look at the ecosystem of vegan businesses, and you have to zoom in to see that, but at the middle here, we've got the food companies, and they're the people kind of around which everything else circulates. Because when you move out of that ecosystem, you then move from the people making the food to the people then serving and delivering the food to the public. So you've got the restaurants, the food trucks, the caterers, the cafes. And then you move to the next tier of this ecosystem, and you've got all the vegan business support services. And these are the people, who have been, massively attracted to us at Vegan Business Tribe. You've got the creative services like the web designers, the copywriters. You've got business advisors, but we've got several at Vegan Business Tribe, the people running events, the people doing marketing and PR, the professional services, so, the vegan accountants, the financial advisors, insurance. So you've got kind of this whole ecosystem around that food sector. And if we have more of those food brands within Vegan Business Tribe, then that gives those support services more people to work with. You know, they can go work with the food brands, because the food brands tend to be the bigger businesses in our sector. And then around that, when you move out again, you've got what I've called the vegan business advocates, and that might be people like the vegan musicians or the filmmakers and the nutritionists, or maybe people doing personal services, some of the social media influencers, the travel agents, the authors, fitness and health sanctuaries, things like that. You know, and these are the people who, they're very important, but they're converting people one by one. And that is important to the person they've converted. You know, for me, I was brought to veganism by one single person who really educated me on veganism. So it's such an important thing. But when you're looking at funding, the people who have got the money to put in to organisations like Vegan Business Tribe, they're wanting that larger impact. They're wanting to really focus on the companies who are influencing tens, hundreds of thousands of people, and that's usually the food companies. But if we create an ecosystem around those food companies, that means for any funding that we brought in to support the food manufacturers, it would just benefit this whole ecosystem that we've built up around it. So that's something that I've been just working on this week, even though I've supposed to have taken a week off. That's one thing I've been working on. And next, just going back to the conversation that I've just had now with Sebastian, who is the person who's launched the Kickstarting For Good incubator that we're going through. He's really been working on me on mindset. And we know that when you have a business, your mindset is the most important thing. Just how you approach that business, how you organise yourself within that business. And one problem I've always had is I struggle to get out of my own way. So because I've got a really diverse skill set, and that comes from, you know, always running my own businesses, and I ran a marketing and branding agency for several years. I've worked as a business consultant. I started off in multimedia and web design. And because I've got all these different sort of skill sets, I've even studied copywriting and things like that. I tend to do everything myself. And I tend to think that I've got to do everything myself to scale a business. And that's one of the problems that we've had at Vegan Business Tribe. So, you know, Sebastian is really keen on the idea of us actually taking Vegan Business Tribe and facilitating it to grow itself. So what do we mean by that? Well, a number of Vegan Business Tribe members have approached me over the years saying, wouldn't it be great if we could do this? So, for instance, the creatives in the group, the web designers, the branders, the web developers, the motion designers and the illustrators, they came to me a couple of years ago and said, you know, we would like our own subgroup within Vegan Business Tribe. And my response to that was absolutely great. Let's get as many of these people together as we can. Let's get them on a Zoom call and let's talk about what support you'd actually want and what we'd need to do with the subgroup. And we got about 20 people on that call. And then we went through, you know, what would you want? You'd want your own Slack group, perhaps. You'd want your own meetups. You'd want to go out and find experts in your area. Then we can record content, maybe from people who have grown successful vegan design businesses and things like that as well. And then I took all that information and I said, right, I now need to build this. That's always been the mistake that I've made. And we've done the same with the vegan professionals in the group. We've had our own vegan professionals meetups, you know, with our accountants and lawyers and insurance people. We've done the same with therapists. Only a few months ago, we brought together about 20 vegan therapists and counsellors, got them all on a Zoom meeting, said, you know, what do we want to do? But we never really came with that plan to move forwards. And that's because I was always the bottleneck. I always thought that I had to take this and build something myself for these members within it. What Sebastian has been very keen to do with us at Vegan Business Tribe is actually say, no, let's enable people within Vegan Business Tribe, so people who want to be sub-tribe leaders, and actually enable them to build their own thing within Vegan Business Tribe. And there's reasons why people would want to do that. So the first, it might be monetary. we simply pay them to do it. So it might be, say, if somebody joins one of these subgroups, one of these sub-tribes, it's going to cost more to be part of that tribe, and we just split that membership with you 50-50. So if you are building up, say, our professional services or our property professionals vegan business tribe subgroup, for people to be part of that, they have to pay an uplift to be part of that specific group, because we're going to get a lot more than being a regular member, and we're going to give that uplift to you. So we're going to share their membership with you. And then, for somebody to actually build that within Vegan Business Tribe, that becomes worthwhile, because every person they go out there and find to join their group, they're going to be getting part of that membership fee themselves. So they can have it as a little bit of a side income to what they're doing. The second reason that somebody might want to do this is it might just have synergy with their business. So you can imagine if somebody provides services, or maybe they are a business consultant, there would be value in that person building up a group from which their business has synergy. And I've spoken to this before. One of our members, he helps people launch podcasts, Jim Moore. And I've spoken to him before about actually bringing together a vegan podcasters group or a vegan content creators group. And for somebody like Jim, that would be really beneficial, because he helps people do that. So heading up that kind of group would really bring him, lots of different opportunities. And I think the third reason that somebody might be interested in being one of our sub-tribe leaders is just the visibility it brings. It's all about personal brand. So often when you are building a business, you need to be the authority in your sector. And if somebody is at the top of the tree, so if somebody is running that vegan business group for that sector, they're going to get a lot of visibility from that. And visibility, that always brings opportunities. So that's something to explore too. And so what are we going to do next? Well, this is the big question. Because I've now got a week, I've got one single week to bring together our final pitch deck for Vegan Business Tribe to get onto the second half of the incubator. And now this isn't something which I had kind of clear in my mind. I don't know if I just missed the information when we applied, but only 50%, or as little as 50%, of the people who are on the incubator get through to the second half. So that's going to be really interesting. And the focus now has to be making sure that I'm one of that 50%, because I think, as I said in my last video, I'd be gutted if I got this far and then didn't get through to the second half, because the second half is where we really need to now concentrate on nailing down the details. So things like the pricing model. What we're going to do with Vegan Business Tribe. Is it still going to be a standard membership fee for everybody? And then if you join one of these sub-tribe groups, that's going to be an uplift. Or do we do something where pretty much Vegan Business Tribe, the general information we put out is just completely for free? And then to join one of the subgroups, that's more of a premium. So instead of the kind of $20 a month that we charge at the moment, maybe it's going to be $50, $60 a month, because the information you're going to get from that and the support you're going to get from that, that's going to be a lot more niche to you. It's going to be a lot more relevant to you. It's going to be a lot more focused on your actual industry and the business you're trying to build. So that's a potential, business model as well. And there's lots of other ideas about how we could do this, how we could finance it, how we could fund it as well. So that's going to be really important to do as well. But one thing I've got to get comfortable with, and this is what Sebastian has just been saying to me, I've got to become the person at the top, not the person in the middle. And this has always been my problem, as I've just said, with Vegan Business Tribe. I am naturally a doer. I like to get in, I like to build things. And again, because of that diverse skill set, I always find myself doing more than I should be doing. Because I can build websites. I built all the Vegan Business Tribe systems. I built all the Vegan Business Tribe websites. Whereas I think maybe my time would have been better spent just actually bringing other people in to do that for me. So that's something I've got to get used to, is this idea that if we are going to grow Vegan Business Tribe, I've got to develop the other people within Vegan Business Tribe and help and mentor them to grow it, rather than trying to be hands-on and do everything myself. So that's been a really important learner. But we've also got to find these people. So this is kind of a call out to you now. If you think that you would like to build one of our sub-tribes within Vegan Business Tribe, then I want to talk to you, and I want to talk to you very quickly. Because there are obvious groups within Vegan Business Tribe that we should be building and allowing those groups to kind of flourish on their own, develop on their own, with developing the stuff that they really need support with. And so again, regulated professionals, that's something that we've talked about lots of times. Our creative services, that could easily be a subgroup. Property, we've got a number of Vegan Business Tribe members who are property developers or investors, and they want to build their own community as well. Who haven't I mentioned? Our therapists, our content providers, maybe our musicians. I think my gimbal just ran out of battery. So hang on, I'm going to leave that in. Yes, my little electronic gimbal just ran out of battery, so I'm going on to handheld now. I can actually just show you where I am actually. So this is Arwen's play area with all her different toys, all her books, her little bookshelf and everything as well. So that's why I'm bringing you this from today. But as I was saying, I want to hear from you. So, if you do want to set up a subgroup within Vegan Business Tribe, and that might be your business sector, or it could be geographical location. We've played with the idea of having geographical Vegan Business Tribes. Amsterdam is an obvious place to do it, and we've got a couple of members there who would be very keen on making that happen. Maybe down in Brighton, maybe in London, maybe in Berlin. There are lots of vegan entrepreneurs in Berlin. Again, it'd make it an obvious place to build that kind of thing. So I can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that now. Sebastian said, I can't get involved. I can't be the one doing it all. I've got to find the people within the tribe and actually let them do it, facilitate them to do it. And even better, because we're going through the ProVeg Incubator, we might have some access to funding to do that. So we might be able to get a little bit of a budget to set up one of these sub-brands, to put a little bit into marketing for it, into promoting it. Or we might be able to self-generate that money ourselves through crowdfunding, or maybe finding a couple of people who are in that sector and would like to put a bit of money into developing it. So, there's going to be lots of options there. So do get in touch. Okay, so 1 week until I need to have my pitch deck complete and sent in. And then the week after, I then have to present it live. Wish me luck.
If you are a UK vegan business, wouldn't it be better to have an accountant that shares your ethics? Well, vegan accountants have got over 30 years of experience, and they're a vegan founded company. And just to add, they're also our accountants at Vegan Business Tribe, because they just get us. They understand why we do what we do, and they make sure that we're doing it in the most tax efficient way possible. Keith and his team, they've been massive supporters of our mission at Vegan Business Tribe. So if you are an established UK business with a growth mindset and you want an accountant that is going to help you grow and shares your mission as well as saves you tax, then just go to veganaccountants.co.uk to find out more. If you are looking to get your business in the news or on the radio or interviewed on TV, then no one's going to get your company noticed like Karen Ridgers and her team at Mad Promotions. And Karen, she's been at the forefront of the vegan media scene for the last 20 years. And Mad Promotions, they're also our media partners at Vegan Business Tribe. So if you've read about us in plant-based news or in Veg Economist, then that's probably because Karen got that story there. So if you are an ethical company or entrepreneur that wants more media coverage, and if you're a company that is looking to make a difference, then that's literally what Mad Promotions stands for. Karen, she's worked with Veganuary, VegFest and all the other big names. So go find out more at mad-promotions.com.
Exciting day today because I have just submitted my document for the mid-term review of the Incubator. Now, I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to go through page by page what was on this PDF. But this has already been sent in. So if you spot any typos, don't go emailing me saying on page 8 you've got a letter missing, because it's too late. It's been sent in. And this is basically bringing together everything that we've done on the Incubator so far, all the different tasks that we've done, all the research, all the planning, that's been put into one 10-page PDF document, which I have now submitted as my pitch to get through to the second half of the incubator. So I thought it'd be worthwhile just sharing this with you, because we were given a template to do this too. Now, we were actually given a physical template. If we wanted, we could have just filled out the PDF, the PowerPoint that they supplied to us, and just sent that back. But I wanted to go all out on this. I wanted to really show how much we care about getting through to that second part of the incubator. So I have used my career's worth of design and branding skills on this document to make it look as good as possible, and hopefully that is going to make an impact. If it makes a difference, gosh, who knows, but at least it looks good. So here we go. So let me just share my screen with you here. Okay, so this is the opening page, and as I said, I'm wanting to create a little bit of impact here. I'm wanting it to look like we are serious about what we're doing. This isn't just an idea. This is something that is set up and running. And look, here are our lovely Vegan Business Tribe members on the opening slide as well. So let me just quickly go through what's in the first part of this document. So this first page here is what's called the one-pager, and it's almost like an executive review. So if someone just wants to get an overview of what we're trying to do at Vegan Business Tribe, this is something they can read in just a couple of minutes, and they'll get an overview of the idea, the problem, the solution, the impact that we're going to have, and the funding as well. And this is all the things that we've worked out so far on the incubator. So I'll just read out what we've got here as a problem, for instance. You know, we've put many vegan entrepreneurs don't have the knowledge, the support, or prior experience to grow a business to the point where it makes a tangible impact. This is compounded by a lack of vegan-aligned business support, with vegan entrepreneurs coming under pressure to drop the vegan goals of their business for more profitable activities. And we hear that a lot in Vegan Business Tribe. So many of the people who go through coaching with me, they've already had a non-vegan business coach who just told them, forget the vegan stuff. The market's not big enough. You won't make any money. So that's really important to me, that that's in there as the problem. And then the second half of the problem we've got is vegan entrepreneurs can also be afraid of publicly championing veganism, fearing that they might alienate customers, business partners, and staff, or harm their career prospects. And again, we've seen that so much as well. So this page here, it kind of lays out the problem and the solution. And so if somebody wants an overview of what we're trying to do at Vegan Business Tribe, they've got it straight away in one page. And that's just really useful to have. Okay, so on to the next page, we've got our mission and our vision. Now, this is something that I actually struggled with. When we were in Berlin, we did a live workshop on this, where as a group, we had to write down our mission and our vision. And I really struggled to kind of work out what it was for Vegan Business Tribe, because this isn't something that I've done before. I've done mission statements for corporate entities, but this is a little bit different when you're working in this sector. So let me just read these out to you as well. So I've got that our mission is we empower vegan entrepreneurs with the knowledge, support, and skills to create a bigger impact with their businesses. We leverage the power of entrepreneurship to advance the vegan and animal rights cause. So that's kind of saying what we're going to do. This is what we're setting out to do. And then our vision, that's what we want to see as a result of our activities. This is the world that we're trying to build. So our vision, we've put here, a world where veganism and animal rights are championed as mainstream causes by businesses, with entrepreneurs using their success and influence to drive greater support and funding for the movement. Now, I originally had much longer statements, and the feedback I got was it was just too long. We had to really kind of narrow that down. So I actually used a little bit of ChatGPT here just to put those longer statements in and say, right, can you say what I'm trying to say in about half the words? I made it generate 3 or 4 different responses, and I picked and choose from them to put those back together. So that's what we've got there as the mission and the vision. So as you can see here, we're starting to build this story as we go through. It's not really a pitch deck, but as we go through this document. So on to the next page. The next page is the research we did looking at the landscape, and I think I covered this in an earlier diary, so I won't go too much into this. But this is where we looked at the landscape of who else is serving the vegan community at the moment, and just commenting about what was different about Vegan Business Tribe to what these organisations are doing, which was really useful to go through. And then we look at the adjacent sectors as well. And this is something which has really captured my imagination. We have seen that in other cause areas, there are organisations, and very well-funded organisations, that are specifically set up to foster entrepreneurship, to actually help that core sector. So we've got Start Out, which is for LGBTQ plus entrepreneurs. They get 3 million funding a year. They get backing of absolutely massive companies like Amazon Web Services, JP Morgan, Visa, Google. That, you know, they back them, they fund them. And interestingly, they've got a staff of 17 people running this organisation. So, you know, in these other cause areas, we've got absolutely massive organisations doing amazing work. We haven't got that in animal rights. We haven't got that in veganism. So this is more what I'm trying to move Vegan Business Tribe towards. And again, a couple of other examples for faith-driven entrepreneurs: $4 million annual funding to help faith-driven entrepreneurship. And then the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts, and again, 4 million annual funding. So some amazing organisations that we're really, you know, using there as role models as well. On to the next slide. Now, this is something, again, which was very new to me. This is called a theory of change. And if you have a business that is trying to make an impact, that is trying to make a change in the world, I'd say just go and look this up about creating a theory of change, because this is a document. It's a bit of a flow chart to show what activities you're going to do, then what the results of those activities are going to be, and then what the results of those results are going to be. So it's a step-by-step lead through of what you're going to do, how that has an impact, until eventually you get to the final impact that you want to have. And when I was putting this together for Vegan Business Tribe, I actually found this a really interesting exercise to do, but quite a difficult one as well, because you really have to think through, well, this service I'm going to launch, or this help and advice that we're going to give, what is the direct result of that? What change is that making in the world? And is it a positive change? And is it leading towards the stated goals and impacts that I wanted to make? So that's what this page is all about. It might be useful for me just to do a separate video on this, perhaps. Because again, if you have got a business that's trying to actually make a change, just go look up the idea of creating a theory of change for your business. And that's a really useful tool as well. Okay, on to the next panel. So we've got here 3 interventions that we're going to do as Vegan Business Tribe. So these are the 3 activities, the 3 actions, the 3 things that we're going to set up to actually try and move a vegan cause forwards through business entrepreneurship. So intervention 1, creating business growth and business activism learning pathways. So this is about an earlier diary entry I made, one of my first actually, talking about a Vegan Business Tribe. Yes, we need to help people actually grow their businesses, but then we need to help you actually do good with those businesses. We need to show you how you can use your business for activism to actually help the vegan cause move forward. So there are 2 separate learning pathways that we're going to create. One to actually help you grow your business, to take you from where you are now to where you want to be. And then a second learning pathway to actually show you how to have an impact with your business as well. So that's exciting stuff. Our second intervention is the creation of vegan business sub-tribes. Again, I've done a video all on this, and again, this PDF is just bringing everything together that we've already spoken about here. Then our third intervention is this term which I love, of activation, of getting somebody to actually become active, to do more for your cause. So intervention 3 is the activation of successful vegans who are not involved with the vegan movement. So that's just to create more vegan business role models and more kind of influence in larger businesses from vegans who might not be yet fully embracing the vegan movement. So that's our 3 interventions. That's what we're setting out to do. On to the next slide. So one thing that the Incubator has been very keen for us to do is to set up minimal viable products. And you've probably come across that term MVP before. And this is most useful because a lot of people going through the Incubator, they don't already have an established organisation. They're looking at setting one up. So the idea of actually testing your idea out really, really quickly is something that the Incubator's been really keen on making sure that we're focused on this as well. The first is testing out those learning pathways. So let's just take one module of those learning pathways. How long do they take to build? Can we actually go out and find the expertise and experience from people who have scaled up companies, those vegans out there, to help us build us? That's what we're going to test with that MVP 1. And MVP 2 is the creation of the first tribe, so the sub-tribe. So actually go out there, let's create and launch this sub-tribe. How long does that take? What resources do we need in place? How do we get people to join it, etc., etc. So these are 2, quite not really quite simple, but quite straightforward things that we actually aim to do probably in time for January, something like that. It's something that we really want to get moving on quickly to actually prove the concept of where we're trying to go with Vegan Business Tribe. Right, on to the next slide. So this is what's called OKRs. So this is objectives and key results. And what we're talking about here is just a plan to achieve the things that we've said on the last 2 pages. So how are we actually going to do it? So we've listed out our 2 objectives. Objective 1 is to create the learning pathway tier, and then objective 2 is to launch that first tribe. So it's just breaking it down into the tasks that we actually need to do. So the key results we need to achieve to make those things happen. And what I've also put just at the bottom there, just to hedge my bets ever so slightly, is I've also put a plan B as well. So if we think it's going to be too much to create a separate learning platform and also to create the first tribe, we're going to merge those 2 things together. So we'll create the learning pathway for the first tribe. So if, for instance, the first tribe we create is a tribe for vegan food truck owners, then the learning pathway we're going to create will be for vegan food trucks, and we'll do those 2 things hand in hand. So that's what that slide's telling us there. On to the next one. So this is the exciting one, because this is where we have to actually put some figures down, the budget of what we're looking for. So I've run through there, what the current turnover of Vegan Business Tribe is, what our operational costs are for a year, but then put together a budget for year 1 for us expanding. And mostly that budget is going to be about bringing more people in. It's going to be about bringing in either VAs or some people working part-time with us to expand what we're looking to do. But I've also put together a budget for year 2 and a budget for year 3 as well, because one thing I was really keen to show with Vegan Business Tribe is we want it to stand on its own 2 feet financially. It kind of is at the moment, but we don't really generate that extra budget to expand what we're doing. So I wanted to clearly show that putting money in a larger amount for year 1 and then a slightly smaller amount for year 2, that then results, hopefully, projected that in year 3, Vegan Business Tribe actually will be generating money that we can do good stuff with. It's not going to need more money put into it. So this isn't something that for a long time people are going to have to keep putting money in to actually make happen. To support it, it will become its own entity, generating its own cash. And so that's what I want to show in the budget there. The last part of this slide, so down in that bottom right-hand corner, this was really interesting to work out, because one thing they're keen to see in the budget is the cost effectiveness of what we're doing. So the term that was used quite a lot is how much bang for your buck are you able to give with your initiative or your organisation. So for a certain amount of dollars put in, how many dollars worth of impact are we going to get out? How many dollars worth of impact are we going to generate? And that's quite a hard thing to do. And if I go right back to one of my very first video diaries that I made, it was talking about how do we measure the impact of what we do at Vegan Business Tribe? How do you measure the impact of what you do in your company? So I had to work out how to show this. And so I based it quite loosely on how many people we think, how many extra companies, how many extra vegans do we think will get signing up to Vegan Business Tribe if we look to expand it like this. But not just in terms of people actually joining, because we're looking to double the membership here, but how many extra people will we actually touch with our free information as well? So we kind of worked out a ratio of about 1 to 12. So if we increase and double our membership, we will potentially be reaching about 2,500 vegan entrepreneurs over the next, per year. So by the money that we're asking to be put into Vegan Business Tribe, to the impact that we're getting out, that worked out, it'd be approximately 27 UK pounds or 35 US dollars per entrepreneur that we support. So that's kind of working out the cost effectiveness of what we do. And I think that's quite good. $35 for everyone that we're going to support to grow a successful vegan business. I'll live with that. Somebody will put money into that and back that, won't they? Well, hopefully they will. So there we go. So the final slide is just about who's involved. Me and Lisa, there you go, the founding team. So it talks a bit about our background, what we've done, our skill sets, what we're trying to achieve. And that's the final slide that they're going to see, my lovely smiling face. Okay, so I'll just close that down. So that's it. So that's what we've now submitted. So as I said, if you find any typos in there watching this, don't email me and tell me, because it's too late. And now it's I would say it's waiting, but I'm booked in. So I'm booked in on Tuesday Today is Friday, so I'm booked in next Tuesday to actually, I thought it was to present this, but it's not. What they're going to do is they're actually going to come back with lots of questions, and then the session on Tuesday is to go through those questions, probably defend the idea a little bit, maybe defend my budget and my calculations, defend what we're trying to do perhaps. I don't know. So it's going to be an interesting session. What I'll do once I've had that session is I'll jump back on and I'll record my reaction video. Because I don't know if in the session they tell us there and then if we've got through to the second half of the incubator. I suspect not, because there's a lot of people that they're talking to. They've already been managing our expectations that up to 50% of us won't get through. So I suspect what they'll be doing is they'll be having these sessions first, then they'll probably map everybody out onto a whiteboard and say, well, we've got David here, we've got person X here, person Y there, who are we going to put through, who aren't we? And that would be a lovely thing to record, wouldn't it, having those discussions? But I don't think they'd let me get crashed with a camera. But yeah, so we will just wait and see. Right, so that's in. So if you're going through a process like this, that's hopefully giving you an idea of how it all accumulates, how it all comes together. And there's nothing more I can do. So, wish me luck. It's Wednesday, which means it's my meeting day. If you know me, you'll know that Wednesday is my meeting day. So what I tend to do on Wednesdays is I sit here in our little VBT studio, or my proper camera is right in front of me here. And Wednesdays I just have back-to-back meetings. And it's a little bit about being, trying just to be more efficient with my time. And it's something I've done for years. That if somebody wants to book a meeting with me, I'll send them my Calendly link. And the only day that's available is a Wednesday, but they can book at any time from sort of 7:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. And today I've got, I think, 10, 11 meetings, just almost back to back. So I've got a little break at the moment. I've got somebody in about 20 minutes, so I'll have to keep this fairly short. But it's great because it means I can be really, really efficient. But it also means that I just spend the day having amazing conversations with people like you, people who are vegan, people who are vegan, have got an interest in business. And it's just a great way to spend my Wednesdays. So that's what I'm doing today. But as I said, I've got a little bit of a slot. So I've just jumped off to update my Incubator video diary, because I haven't done one of these for a few days. And it's partially because, as always, I've just been so busy actually doing the incubator work. But there hasn't been that much to update you on. I've been kind of just working on the pitch deck, because that now needs to be in by the end of the week. It needs to be in Friday. But unfortunately, I'm travelling down to London to attend the Vegan Party conference. We're actually doing a panel discussion there with Matthew Glover, Matali De Pecaster, Keith Lesser from Vegan Accountants, Daisy Bother from Vegan Fairs. And we're going to be talking about how to support the vegan business sector. And because of that means I've got to get my pitch deck in early, because I'm going to be on the train for the last couple of days. So I've just been working to get all that done. It's pretty much there. It's pretty much done. I need Lisa just to proofread it and then go over it. And then I'm going to be submitting it probably tomorrow midday. But just as a follow-up to the last video I did. So in the last video, I was talking about the idea of how we're going to grow Vegan Business Tribe by basically letting you grow it with us, and the concept of setting up sub-tribes. So it might be that if you are a vegan food manufacturer, you can come and join Vegan Business Tribe, but you've also got your own sub-tribe as well that's got more people who are on the same mission as you are, on that same journey. We've got content just for you. We've got a learning pathway just for you. And so we had this idea that we could open this out to lots of different sub-tribes and pathways. And so in my last video, I actually said, if you've got an idea for your own vegan business sub-tribe, please let me know. And boy, did you let me know. I've had about 10, 12 people
get in touch with me with ideas for sub-tribes. And it's actually set us going on quite a few different conversations, because some of them are quite obvious, they're business sectors, like graphic designers, which we know there are a lot of vegan graphic designers. But some of them have really made me think, and I've not got back to everybody yet. So sorry if you've sent me a suggestion, but I've not got back with some ideas by it. But some of these ideas, they might not be sub-tribes. They might be more like schools, perhaps. So we've got a couple of members who are really keen on just teaching people to get better at marketing. Now, that wouldn't be a sub-tribe as such, but it'd make a very interesting separate school that we could set up. So, thank you for getting in touch with us. That's been really, really useful as well. But we are now on that final stretch towards the midterm review. And as part of this midterm review, not only did we have to get our final pitch deck together, and once I've submitted that next week, I'll actually go through the pitch deck. I'll show you what's in our final pitch deck for the review, so that you could see what's in it. And interestingly, I'm glad I took that week off and didn't just start it, because at the start of this week, they actually sent us the template for this pitch deck. So they wanted some very specific information in there. And I think had I just gone off and made my own, it wouldn't have fit that template. Now, of course, I'm not doing it exactly to the template, because I am always trying to put in that little bit more effort and make it look very nice. That is one of my skills. So that's something I'm really sort of leaning on. But yeah, it's all done. It's all there. And I'm quite excited about sharing that with you next week too. But it wasn't just the submitting of a pitch deck. We've also got to give our feedback on the programme so far. And when somebody asks you that, just as you're about to go into a review, you kind of wonder if that's part of the review. And so I've spent far much longer than I should have done. I've probably spent about half an hour on doing this 5-minute feedback form, just sort of thinking, just reading too much into the questions, I think, a little bit. But one of the questions they asked you right at the end of the feedback was, what reasons do you think you might fail the midterm review, i.e. not get through to the second half of the incubator? And that's quite a hard question to answer, because again, is that part of the review? Are they going to be taking your answer to that question into consideration? And so I had to have quite a long think about that. And, reasons that I might not get through to the second half. Well, one of the main reasons, and this is actually a very good one, is, I am aware that Vegan Business Tribe is currently a for-profit organisation, and I have a very commercial background. And this is an incubator for social impact entrepreneurs and not-for-profit organisations. So if I don't get through to the second half, there is a potential misfit there. And I'll accept that, because, if there are just limited places, if one of the people who is working on something like farming transition, for instance, if it was a toss-up between Vegan Business Tribe and somebody like that getting through to the incubator, I'd feel quite bad about taking that place. And so yeah, 100%, I'd accept something like that. But this idea of me having a commercial background, I think I've mentioned this before in another one of the video diaries, but I thought that would be a disadvantage. And in some ways it has been, because there's been a lot of new concepts and terminology which comes from the not-for-profit sector that I've had to learn. I've probably had to do a lot more background reading than a lot of the people going through the incubator. And again, that's absolutely fine. But I have learned that having that commercial background, having built businesses, always been very focused on things like cash flow and profits and making sure that your company is actually making money and can be keeping going for long periods of time. I mean, my agency ran for about 15 years. That is actually... it's actually something which is quite desirable in the not-for-profit sector. And I was quite surprised at that. And I do think that were I starting Vegan Business Tribe again now, I would probably start along that not-for-profit route. And I do think as well that no matter what happens with Vegan Business Tribe, that my future probably lies in the not-for-profit sector in some way. And that might be an evolution of what we're doing at Vegan Business Tribe. We might get to the point with Vegan Business Tribe where I'm not the main person within it all the time, that we've got a group of our tribe leaders, for instance, creating their own content, people managing the community, and that I go off and maybe do some other things alongside Vegan Business Tribe. But I can see myself working in the not-for-profit sector just because I've learned how powerful it
it is, what an impact it can make. And there are some very big problems in the world, not just with veganism and animal rights, which is something which is very close to my heart, but there's adjacent problems to that as well. There's a lot about education. It's really interesting how many vegans we've met with children who are homeschooling their children because they just don't, they don't want to expose their children to animal agriculture propaganda before they're old enough to defend themselves against it, for instance. And that's exactly what we're doing with our daughter, Arwen. We're not putting her through nursery. We're going to be trying to homeschool her. Lisa's going to be homeschooling Arwen. You know, so there's so many interesting things and interesting problems in the world that maybe I'd like to have a go at. You know, that I do see probably my future in the not-for-profit sector. However, first of all, we've got Vegan Business Tribe to build. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I've got about 4 minutes until my next Zoom session with another new Vegan Business Tribe member. We've had quite a lot of new members joined this last few weeks. It's been great. It's filled out my Wednesday anyway, you know, which is great. So I'll be doing that next, and then back to just the final proofreading of the pitch deck, so I can hand it over to Lisa, and then get that submitted tomorrow. So that's it. I've got my date booked in. I forgot that. I've got my date booked in to do my final delivery of my pitch deck, to actually present to Sebastian and the ProVeg mentors. And then that'll be it. That's all I can do to get through to the second half. So keep with me, keep watching, and wish me luck.
And in the next Omnibus edition, you will find out what the reaction was to our pitch deck and if we got that invite to return to Berlin. And if you just can't wait until then, you can watch all of my video diaries for the ProVeg Kickstarting For Good Incubator on our YouTube channel, or take a look at the Vegan Business Academy over at veganbusinesstribe.com. And if you want to surround yourself with more people who are on the same mission as you are, then please do come sign up with us at Vegan Business Tribe. We have members from all over the world, and you get access to all of our content, our courses, and our online meetups and events. And you also get access to the most amazing community of vegan entrepreneurs that you will find anywhere in the world. But being a member, it's also how you can help support the work that we do to help the vegan entrepreneurs skill up and scale up so that they can have a bigger impact on the world too. Okay, so watch out for Omnibus number 6 coming up very soon to find out what happened next. And I'll see you on the next one.